Hey there guys, it's a Nerd with Trading Cards, and today I'm going to be going over my Religious Soul Saver test build. Right now I only actually have 2 Religious Soul Saver at the moment because I went ahead and crafted 2. I have yet to pull the 2 from the booster, but I do have other 2 Saint Blood, which will facilitate a pretty similar condition. And I'll talk about what this deck's going to be like once we do get the other 2. I'm just genuinely enjoying this deck. This deck, just like every MLB build, is going to be based around just being a consistent beatdown deck and hoping that you just sack your opponent. I'm going to be honest, that is your goal with this deck because you're just yanking a bunch of cards out of your deck, your grade 2s, as well as just filtering through stuff. You're throwing back your Gancelots. You're just hoping to hit a bunch of triggers, and hopefully that the fact that you're from your turn 3 onwards always throwing a crit at your opponent will hopefully win you the game. Not always going to work. It's probably only like a 30-50% chance that it's going to work, but it is a fun just kind of I'm going in. It's not 100% brain dead, but it's like that 9.27% brain dead, and overall it's been pretty fun. The fact that Religious Soul Saver is a triple rare instead of a generation rare, which was my biggest fear, has been a godsend. And not only that, but they have buffed Religious Soul Saver. Originally, Religious Soul Saver said this: whenever it was placed on Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, G Persona Blast. Then choose 3 of your units and they get plus 5,000 power. Then if you have 2 or more blasters in Soul, it gets critical +1. Now this is the exact same effect, except for it's no longer an on place, it's an act, which is infinitely better, and there's no counterblast cost, which is amazing. And the fact that Fire's Collection, while it is for some dumb reason only here for 1 month, I don't understand Game Studio. You keep making these good decisions, and then you make a horrible decision alongside it. I don't understand.
Phil, you make me angry, Phil!
But the fact that you do get a free box of Fire's Collection by participating throughout the entire month has been amazing. And the fact that Religious Soul Saver is a triple rare means that it's relatively easy to craft because they've made triple rares, especially if you're using the universal match for triple rare crafts, not GR crafts, have been amazing so far. It's been so easy to. So I went ahead and scrapped these 2. Like I said, I'm like almost halfway through the first box, or the free box that we get with the packs. I still have to grind out a lot more packs, but I haven't pulled either one of the Religious Soul Savers from the box. But when I do, what I'll end up replacing is the Modu here, which right now just says whenever you stride it, if you have a Vanguard whose original power is 10k or less, which would be Majesty, you can then add any grade 3 from your drops into your hand. Unfortunately, it does not say grade 3 or greater, because we could then add Exculpate back to our hand, which would be amazing to be able to discard Exculpate for stride, then instantly get it back to hand, and then use it next turn as your finisher. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. Technically, this would work if they kept this at grade 3 like in the original TCG, which is Counterpart was originally a grade 3. It just says that you couldn't ride it. Unless you rode it over a grade 3, so it was essentially a grade 4, but with the grade 3 tag to it, which in this situation would actually help. But no, they went ahead and made it a grade 4, which is fine, honestly. But we do unfortunately lose the text on Madu to where we can't take it out. Now I would kick out Madu. And this may be a surprise to you. I'd actually kick out Godblade, because while Godblade is nice, he doesn't synergize with the strategy of the deck, really. And he also has the big problem of, if he does hit and you do call out something, if your opponent hits a defensive and you don't hit any triggers, then he kind of becomes just a whiff stride. So while most people would choose Godblade over Samuel, I actually would keep Samuel in and kick out the Godblade and the Modu. The reason I'd keep Samuel in is because since you're playing a deck that's centered around always having 2 crit, a lot of times after your opponent, after you knock them up to 5 and they heal down, they're almost always going to be at 4 damage. Having Samuel be able to then drop itself, knock them up to 5 on his attack, then force them to guard, can be an amazing little extra advantage to go off of. Even though it is still a CB1, but the fact that they really reduced the counterblast cost for Royals overall. Your biggest counterblast sink will be your Blaster Blades, and your Exculpate, which for if anyone doesn't know what Exculpate does, he says whenever you would ride him, if you do not have Blaster Blade and Soul, he cannot attack while he is your Vanguard. Then, if you have a grade 3 Blaster Vanguard, you can normal call him, so just regardless of the fact that he's a grade 4, so he can just be a 13k beat stick on the board, which sometimes is nice. And then his main skill is, while he is your Vanguard, you can act, pay 3 counter blasts, then until end of turn, it gets the following abilities. Acting about this card attack, choose a Blaster Blade from your soul and ride it at stand and draw a card. And this card battles all of your opponent's cards. So the main strategy with this deck is to knock your opponent up to 5, then drop Exculpate, board wipe them, and attack them 4 times to face. It's been a really fun deck. I really enjoyed this. I'm playing it technically in Global right now. I just recently went over in my latest video for my Day 1 deck for Generation Strikes. I didn't get any of the G-era decks together, but this has been really fun, and I've been really enjoying that. Now we've talked about the key pieces, let's actually get into a little bit more in-depth of the actual deck profile. So yes, we do have Wingull Brave here. The fact that they finally made it CB1 again, the card playable, made the whole deck live. However, do note that if you can't, there's always a chance that when you only have the 1 CB, which you usually do whenever you got to use this to search if you're using it early on, you have the chance of healing. And if you do heal, you deal with this. So and that's never a good feeling. It's happened to me plenty of times, even just recently, like it happened to me twice in the past couple of days. It's never a fun feeling, but it is something you do need to keep in mind whenever you're setting up stuff. So sometimes you might want to have your opponent higher damage just so you can cut yourself out of potential heal so that you can actually get the skill off. I know that's nuts, but sometimes you just gotta do stupid stuff in order to get things working. So Wingull Brave is amazing. Plus, it can search Exculpate, your Majesty, or your Blaster Blade or Blaster Dark. It can search any of the pieces you need. If you already have all your pieces, you can just search the Exculpate and hold on to it. Of course, you know, like I said, this deck is very linear, but it's also very piece reliant, so it also means it's rather fragile, because while it can search it through its pieces relatively quickly with Wingull Brave, it does struggle a bit to get other stuff together to keep things going unless you're sacking draws. And then counterblasts can be a bit of an issue if you want to use your Blaster Blades, because most of your counterblasts are going to be between your Wingull Brave and your Starlight Violinist. Starlight Violinist, when placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, you can counterblast Soul Blast one. It's your deck for any grade 2 that is not Violinist, and call it. This is literally just a better version of Star Cold Trumpeter, which saddens me because I love Trumpeter in any of its forms, and sad because that was a CB2 and it can only call it Blaster grade 2s, while this can now call out our 12k attacker, Bedivere, which is very nice from not having to commit an extra booster sometimes, because you are sucking in Blade and Dart for Majesty's skill, so it's not the most, definitely not the most advantage way, but you do get to have a crit regardless if you went first or second and have some power. So onto the gray ones. Playing 2 Stride Father. Wasn't playing Stride Father originally, but since we do have Religious Soul Saver now, we do have a, you know, actual stride turns. We're actually going to be striding from now on after we use Majesty, and of course have 4 copies of the Countercharge PG. There's sometimes that I do think about playing original E-Salts. For the sole fact that a lot of other people are playing just crits in general, and playing that would stop them from doing stuff. If you're not going to play Exculpate and you want to play something like Alfred Exiv or a 4th Gancelot and some other random thing, I'd say honestly consider playing E-Salts. The only reason I'm playing this is because you need the damage for Exculpate, and the Countercharge can help you perform other abilities before you would perform Exculpate. Then playing 1 copy. I only actually own 1 copy, surprisingly. The Soul Blast 2, draw a card. You need to pay attention to your soul, especially since Violinist does eat a soul. Yeah, it's just 1 place, Soul Blast 2, draw a card. Really solid card. Then playing 2k, 10k attacker. Sometimes it's a grade 1 that on its own can hit intercepts. It's still a nice utility. And of course, 4 Lien for the filter. Then moving on to the grade 2s, as I showed earlier, playing 3 copies of Starlight Violinist. Originally was playing 4, but after you use it once, you usually don't need to use it again unless you're searching out Bedivere's, which, like I showed just now, I'm playing 2 copies of. Just 12k attackers, they're good, they always will be good. And there's a lot of people still just playing 10k vanillas for no damn reason. And yeah, it's such a helpful card, and the fact that Violets can get after you already have your other pieces. Then I have 4 Blaster Blade, all alternate arts, because why not? It's good stuff. CB2 when placed, tire one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater cards. Good stuff, good stuff. And then, of course, 4 Blaster Dark because it is necessary. Now, here's the hilarious thing. So if your opponent tries to rush you, right? If they try to rush you, give you 2 Counter Blasts, you can technically ride them and kill their starter. However, most starters now say that they can't be retired or they can't be chosen. So that's not really as much of a good thing now unless you're fighting Kagero. Because most Kagero players play Kagero. But most Kagero players aren't going to rush you either because they're not dumb and they need to save up resources, because the whole thing with Kagero is that they kind of just turtle until the late game and then just go die. And now, of course, moving on, we have 2 Exaltate, like I showed off earlier. Revealed all of its skills. It's you don't actually need this as your win con. It's just an extra thing, because you can still just hopefully win by bashing your opponents face in with crits. Now, this is very important to know. So originally, during the first month and a half, I believe, because I believe they fixed this halfway through last month. But it may have been this month, but I'm pretty sure it was midway through last month that they made a change to how Majesty works. So, in the original TCG, Majesty's extra critical was part of his passive. So when you strode over him, there was no problem when the G unit would go back, because it's just part of his passive ability. He just gets the 2k crit. But they changed it to where his extra critical changes his default critical to 2, which made sense for balancing because they didn't want other things to, I guess, to happen, but whatever. But because of that, how Stride was ruling things, it was technically treating him as a new card whenever the Stride would be undone. So he would lose his critical. That's no longer the case, so whenever you do Stride over him, he will still have the critical in case you can't Stride on him again on the previous turn. This is amazing. And the fact that Religious Soul Saver is literally just a Stride version of him, because after you Majesty, all the conditions for Religious Soul Saver are met, and you're like, I'm just striding, and I'm getting free power to the board. It's amazing. It's made the deck so much more consistent and so much better. Playing 3 Gant slots, like I said, if you don't want to play Exculpate, you can boost this up to 4. Play something else. You can play a 1 of Alfred Exiv, since it can Legion with the original Blaster Blade. It can, you can play, I don't know, a Sanctuary Guard. You could play an Ashley. I don't know. Just, you can do whatever you want there, I guess. And then playing 4 Heal Guards, of course, because they're just, you do need a turtle a bit sometimes. And extra defense is always good. We're always going to love this. I think the only deck you really wouldn't want to play Heal Guards in is maybe a Daikaiser base deck. Besides that, it's whatever. So, like I showed off earlier, Religious Soul Saver here, great card, amazing card. I don't know what else to really say, it's just good. And all the buffs that they gave to it is just amazing. Godblade, like I said, is in here for right now, but him and Madu will get kicked out for the other 2 copies of Religious Soul Saver. But when his attack hits a Vanguard, search your deck for any grade 2 or greater, and call it. And then moving on, we got 2 copies of Saint Blow Dragon. So whenever you would get to your second stride, you do have a very interesting proposition, because this doesn't go live until your second stride, at least for its main effect, which is to get crit and its protection effect. So whenever you get to your second stride, you can either go into Religious Soul Saver again and just get more power to the board and extra crit, you know, it's just fine. Or you can go into this, you'll give all the power instead of spreading out to your board, will go to the Vanguard and you'll get the crit. But also on top of that, all your grade 2s cannot be retired until your next turn. This is very helpful, very helpful, very helpful. And a lot of times this will be your second stride, unless you just don't have any intercepts, in which case you might still just go into Religious Soul Saver. But do keep that in mind, that basically you get your Majesty turn, a big boy with crit, and then you have basically 3 turns worth of striding, which are also just big boys with crit. But one spreads out power, and the other one keeps the power, but gives you retire protection. I actually only pulled 1 of this. I actually pulled 2 Godblade. 1 was SP, and in order to get my second Saint Blow, because I'm playing this completely for free, at least as much as possible. I did spend gems in the past, but yeah, I'm done with that. Between English and JP, I probably have spent about like $400 or $500 on this game in the past 2 years. I'm just done with that. I haven't spent any money since G started, and I'm hoping to keep it that way. So yeah, fortunately did get that together. And like I said, Samuel, really solid tech. I did stride into this once. I actually still lost that game, but it was just simply that I knew that he was going to just block the attack, and I needed to get him up to 5 damage for VP reasons, so I was just like, screw it, we'll just go in with Samuel, takes the damage, and maybe he won't have the PG, but you know, he did. And then Madu, like I said, it's a nice little tech. I haven't used it, so it's going to get kicked out, but it does actually work in here. And then in case you do fight the random Link Joker matchup, when you do stride this, you can unlock any number of your locked cards, but you have to discard one for each, so do keep that in mind. That is actually a very powerful trade-off. The fact that you do have to discard one for each, and everyone only gets one of this, so yeah, it's just there. It's good, but it's just there. For the niche situation. Plus, it is a 16k, which means when you do stride over, it will make a 26 column. I don't think it's going to ever matter, because you could just go into Religious Soul Saver or Sync Blow for that power. But I guess in the Link Joker matchup, when you would be using this, this does mean that you're at a 26k base, which I guess is fine. You know. But that's it for the deck building part. Let's go on ahead and get into 2 fights. That's what I pretty much ended up doing. I was going to do 3 fights originally, but I don't have the most steady connection, so I guess we're going to go 2 fights. See you guys there. And so round 1 will be against is it Gold or Shadows? Golds, okay. Might be Gurgit. I don't know. Gurgwit. Gurgwit is technically the proper way. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and throw back to heal, and we'll keep that. We'll just... Oh, okay. So as long as we get Wingle off, yeah, we have all of our stuff, as long as Wingle can trigger. See what ends up build this man is playing. We are going second. Oh, Spring Breeze. It's always interesting seeing a player that uses Spring Breeze Messenger, because if you use it very correctly, it is a very strong card. If you use it incorrectly, it just can screw up entire boards, and it's not worth it. Seems like he's actually running Liberators, which is very interesting. So one actual neat thing about, since G has started, since I decided to move Ganslot to a draw trigger, I have no fear of just throwing him back to deck at any time. Because before, sometimes if you threw back Ganslot too early, he'd be a whiffed heal, which definitely did suck and didn't really help out in a lot of situations. So unfortunately, you sometimes had to just wait to throw back Ganslot. But see, now I sent him back. Now he's instantly a draw trigger. Instantly gets me another piece I need. So now I can actually use Wingle Brave to search my Exculpate. Since Starlight Violinist can search my other grade 2, I'll end up needing for the entire thing. I love it. See, this is actually pretty consistent with what the deck does. Now it's all up to whether or not my opponent out-trigger stacks me or not. But yeah, this happens a lot where I'll open up with Ganslot, throw him back for Blaster Blade, and then instantly check him, and I'm like, yeah, value. Pure value. It's actually been rather, it's been kind of liberating almost, fighting Liberators, funny enough, to use Ganslot as a draw trigger. I just don't have to worry about it as much, and if I do draw my heals, at least at their shield, you know, can't really complain about that. Oh, alright, so that's one Exculpate. Let's see. Okay, so that's fine. We'll go ahead and ride the Blaster Blade. Go on ahead and chunk the Ganslot back in again. Let's see. Do we have anything else we want to throw down? We probably should, because our hand is getting big. I can actually go on ahead and do this, just in case we do hit a heal. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Search my deck for... Let's see, because I already have that. Yeah, let's go ahead and search my deck for a Blaster Dark. Because just in case I do get a heal, it will go off here. And, yeah, we'll just go on ahead and move this forward. Come on out. Since, you know, you won't use the Counterblast after the battle, so if I do get a heal here, it will help me countercharge, but I unfortunately do not. And we'll come in here. Another whiffed heal. That's what I like to see. That's a double whiffed heal. That's the good stuff. Go on ahead, and we'll search out Exculpate. I guess I could have left Violinist forward. It probably would have been better. I just want to save it for next turn, if able, just because I will be sucking in 2 intercepts, and it will be nice to have it there. Okay, so he's playing the Bluish Flame deck. Okay, that's more understandable. Alright, here comes Trumpeter. Oh, yeah. Oh, does he get the random Blaster Blade top deck? Let's see. I love Trumpeter so much. Please protect. No, he does get an Aglavel, though, which is pretty nice, and if he does get a Blaster Blade here, he can countercharge off of it. Let's see what he ends up getting. He actually gets a regulation Aglavel, which is good, because now he can search his deck for a Bluish, or top 7 for a Bluish Flame. Gets another Glare, that's fine, everything is good. Comes in here, and then of course he's going to deal me a good amount of damage, and unfortunately since I'm not at Majesty yet, it does hurt a bit. You do kind of actually want to go first with Majesty, which is a very interesting thing since a lot of decks you don't want to go first with. Ooh, my hand, I think my hand's at maximum size, isn't it? I really needed that booster too. Ugh. But we'll come in. You know, he's going to take some damage this turn. Of course, we're not going to strike, so we're going to need to be getting stuff off. So we'll move this forward, play this out, play this out. Now we're going to hold on to the Exculpate for next turn, because I do have a PG and heal in hand, so we should be fine on that front. Go ahead and move these in. And then I kind of really do hope that I do get a heal, though. That will be very helpful in trying to deter him from just killing me next turn, because if he has all of his stuff, that could hurt. So go on ahead and move both Blaster Blade and Darken the Soul, trigger Majesty, get the 10k and 2 critical. And let's see what we end up popping off here. No trigger, and no trigger. Ooh, both Blaster Darks. Yeah. And then he gets no trigger, and a PG. That's good. That's good. He has 2 heals and a PG already out. I'm fine with this. But that also means that he's not playing... I just really thought about it. That means he's not playing the 15k shield heals. Ooh, nice. But, you know, this is also another deck where you might not want to play the 15k heals, because Ganslot is such a good card, but you need to play as many Bluish Flames as you can, so typically the 9. So I guess this is a deck where it would be better. Oof. That's no good. That's no good. Of course, then they'll go to double CB. Does this check top 3 or top 4? Oh, it checks top 5. And does give it power. No, why would you do that to me? I needed that booster for next turn. Alright, this is good, because that means if I, unless I do heal. Alright, I mean, that's fine. Alright, cool. That's perfectly fine. No, oh, I guess he's playing a 2-2 split. I guess that also works. But that means it's 3 with heals. He does get another. Let's see where this ends up going. I really wish that... is it worth it, though? I think it might be worth it to Exculpate. But also, ooh... No stride. I kind of just have to hope that he doesn't get a trigger, and between my 3 checks, I get a trigger. That's kind of just what it's going to have to come down to. Well, at least you get to see the Exculpate part of this first. First check, second check, draw trigger. That is good. I'm going to, just in case, put this here first. And he does get the trigger, okay. Which does suck, because now I'm only going to get 1, but I can at least do a guaranteed hit on him. I guess I should have... No, I should really... Alright, I get a heal, so this should be fine. And that does take out that. So he only has 1 heal left, and that, that board wipe is really strong in this situation. This is actually, because usually I'm the one rushing and not the one getting rushed, so usually I'm the one getting the whipped heals, but now it's been him so far, so that's 2 heals, or 2 PGs, and, oh, that's all of the heals. I thought that was 3. He is throwing no, or 1 heal back. Oh, shoot. That's right, because he did guard. Interesting. Very interesting. So he does get a free call here. And I think he still has a glare in his hand that he can use for Explosion Blue. No, please don't. I'd rather you not. I'd rather you not just, like, build a whole board back for nothing. Please don't. Could you stop? But that's what makes Liberators fun, is that you can just build a board back from nothing. Oh, he's not using it. Okay. This will unfortunately... I don't know why he didn't attack with Aglavel first. I mean, I guess this situation doesn't really matter. I can... Did he think that I had something else going on? That does hurt me, though, but... I mean, if he has 1 defensive card, he probably has this, though. Well, actually, I don't know. Well, let's end up. We'll have to see how this ends up going. He does have one heal left in his deck. See, how many draws do I have left? One. Oh, he didn't have anything. Yeah, let's go, Blaster Blade. Yes. That. Oh boy, that's how we do it. Insert your Charlie meme here. And so now we're on to our second game. First game went relatively well. We actually didn't strike. We actually just went straight for the Excavate because we had it. But yeah, this is supposed to be a religious Soul Saver deck show off, but it might be an Excavate deck show off at this point. But yeah, that was honestly, that turned out perfect. That was honestly, because if he did draw something, he had no CB, so he'd just go straight to my face. I would take 1 damage. And as long as he didn't heal, we would still be good. Alright, so we're fighting Tokaha first. We are going second. So that does mean we get to draw more, fortunately. So we do have... You know, we're going to keep this. We're going to keep this. Violinist has been such an amazing boost to the deck's consistency. The fact we no longer have the CB2 but the CB1 is so strong. And the fact that Wingle Brave's back to a CB1, I love it. I enjoy it so much. It just... I've been through this past year without my boy. And now we are back. Of course, you know, we're definitely no top dog. We are relying a bit on stacking. We are relying on just kind of abusing a few game mechanics. There's nothing amazing going on. Alright. So we technically, once I throw back this Ganslot, we'll have all of our grade 2 pieces, so Wingle will probably be searching MLB this time instead of Exculpate. But we'll see how this ends up going. Swing on in. Oh, there goes an Exculpate. Draws the Ganslot back. Why can't you both been switched around? It would have been so good, because now I'm going to search. Oh, another whiff heal. Let's go. Let's keep this up. Let's keep this up. This feels so good. I never had my opponents whiff heals. This is so much. This is like... Let's see. So riding the 12k attack. I have, honestly, I did not play at all. No rank. I played no rank last month, so I don't know how any of the decks from last month function. And these are my first proper ranked fights. I've been playing unranked for the testing of this build, because I honestly didn't know how well it was going to do, and I just wanted to test it in unranked first. And so far it's been working, you know, like I said, pretty well. Definitely not consistent enough to be like a top dog deck. I probably honestly should go on ahead and throw down something here. Go ahead, slap this back to deck. Let's see, because now I'm in this very interesting situation. I could go on ahead and do this and attack, because that way it'll stop him. Okay, good. It's like, it'll stop me from accidentally healing out of the CB, potentially. Which, see, was going to happen. I was like, well, I just have this weird feeling. Alright, so she does get a heal off. That's fine. But, see, I had to intentionally cut myself from healing so I can go on ahead and play normal. Let's go ahead and grab that SP like the good players we are. I just had a feeling, it's like, I don't know, it's just coming, my Psyqualia, it's telling me what I need to know. So going into Ahsha, what is her animation? Lagging because my computer isn't so good, and blue stacks. So we all know the horrors of blue stacks. So yeah, ooh, no grade 2s. Ooh, that could be very helpful. I don't have any boosters though. That was honestly probably the most common problem I've had, is the lack of boosters. She'll still need to hit another trigger for that to hit. Alright, I'm just taking 1 damage, that's fine. Oh, let's go. Let's keep going, Ganslot. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Alright, we don't need that match. See, I guess that's our stride fodder for next turn. So hopefully we'll actually be able to go into Religious Soul Saver. No stride, go on ahead, play out Bedivere. Just call out both of these. Go on ahead and attack. I'm already out 3 heals right now, so I'm not really worried about potentially getting one here, so we're just going to come in for here and just knock them up to 5 unless they heal. Which is very nice when that, being able to do that. So go on ahead, knock them up to 5 damage. And we'll just come in. Hope for some draws? Nope, that's fine. We've been doing good. I can't ask for too much more. Now, if she didn't hit that second heal there, we would have taken a PG out of her hand or a heal, which would have really been nice. So the only thing is that, because I forget, is this an on-stride clone? I'm pretty sure, yeah, when you're doing strides, choose one, yeah. So she'll be able to clone her stride father, which, depending on the situation, might be a helpful thing. If she needs to search for extra Ahshas. I forget what Jingle Bell does. Gets power for clones, if I'm understanding right? I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. I don't know my Japanese well enough. Oh wait, does this call the card now? Yeah, this calls a card from hand, then you clone. Yeah, I don't think it originally did that. I don't think it originally called. It might have, but I don't think it called the card. It's been years. It's been 2014. Then maybe it's been like 5-6 years since I last saw that Ahsha skill. Oh, going in. All right, so it is very nice when you are playing the G decks with these crits. They're just super helpful overall. And yeah. Oh yeah, you give all your rear guards the power buff ability, isn't it? Is this an on attack or... Oh, it's GB2, that's why it's not working. Okay. Well, she has 2 heals in deck. Let's see if she gets any here. If not, we can just start beating her in the face. Because there's no intercepts. That is a draw. Second check. PG. Alright, it's 1 out of the way. Third check. Another draw. That is fair. I did beat your face in, and you don't have any intercepts. This is all fair. Alright, so that's that. Alright, so coming in here... this is actually going to be very nice, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stride. Go into Religious Soul Saver. Discard the Majesty. And since she doesn't have any intercepts, I can just come in with 3 attacks at the face. And since Violinist can call out whatever... let's see. Sure, I'll Soul Blast out a Blade. Call out a Grade 2. Call out Bedivere for sure. If I don't win this turn, this will be great. Go on ahead, just buff up my whole front row by 5k, and Vanguard gets a critical. And come in for battle. Because this will take 3 cards out of her hand, which is still very fine. Unless she... I'm assuming that she does all the drawing she just did. I might get that last whiff heal. Let's see. We do have 4 draws left in deck. Oh no! We're coming in! Let's go! So she has to hit double miracle, which she has 2, but I doubt it's gonna happen. Yeah. Alright. Well, that's game. I think this is the first Decken fight where I won both of my games. Yeah, just trigger stacking for the win. Making cancel on a draw has been very helpful. And you actually have to see both lines of the game of just using Exculpate to board wipe, and I pretty much would survive the next turn unless something drastic happened, and then drop Exculpate, and then board wipe, and go in for 4 attacks, and have a good day. And I made sure to save a booster just in case things would go awry, but yeah, so far this deck has been it's consistent. It's just whether or not your opponent outgrinds you. Because if your opponent outgrinds you, you are just going to lose, and it's going to be a real sad day. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching. This has been a very fun deck profile. This is probably the most fun I've had. I enjoy. MLB is my avatar, and anytime I can show it off and try to make it better, it makes me happy. And now that they made Exculpate and Religious Soul Saver buffed, and we're just all here, and everything's like, yes, this is what I want. This is it. This is it. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and remember, have fun playing the games you want to play, and as always,
Stay tuned for more Card Fight Vanguard from Nerd TCG. Don't forget to like and subscribe.